Woo! All right. So today is going to be a fun one, right? Today's going to be fun.
I think so. Well, I think that, we talked all the scientific stuff about whether or not money can buy happiness, but happiness is a feeling, right? And so we're in part 2, which is how you feel. How do you integrate the topic into your personal relationship with money and unpack the behaviors, reactions, and habits around him? That's what part 2 is all about.
Because I think I want to get a little bit out of the statistical that we were in the first episode of the arc, where we were talking about averages and what does mean and median. It did made me think. You were talking about good spin-off podcasts. I would love if maybe some listeners to the show, a couple of young ladies would put together a show where they talk about averages and call it Mean Girls.
Oh no. Oh, I hope somebody does that.
I would really
like
it was a funny joke to me in the moment, but I also very much would listen to this show. So
you would.
In case you're wondering whether or not you would have listeners,
you got one, y'all. So we wanted to start this episode with a great Time article called "Here's How Money Really Can Buy Happiness," and the article laid out kind of the 3 feelings that happen where it kind of feels like we're on a treadmill, right? It feels like, oh, well, money could buy happiness momentarily, right? And, why does it never feel like we're happy with what we have and things like that? And there are many, they go through a number of great human conditions, I guess, when it comes to it. So the 3 things out of this very long article that I really pulled out were, 1, in terms of whether or not money can buy you happiness, is 1, we're never satisfied. 2, there's lifestyle creep in our ability to adapt to a situation as humans, regardless of whether we have more or less. And then always comparing ourselves to others, right? And these were all biologically necessary for us, but now they've adapted into us never feeling like we have enough, us feeling like we have to keep up with the Joneses,
Evolution!
You've done it again! Yeah.
Evolution be doing us dirty all the time. Be giving us these imperatives that aren't imperative anymore.
Yeah. So the thing that's interesting, the very first thing they talk about is the new science of happiness starts with a simple insight. We're never satisfied. That is a line from the article. We always think if we just had a little bit more money, we'd be happier, right? Oh, if I just had a little bit more. Oh, if I just got a little bump. If I just got a little raise. If I had a little bit more, I'd be happy. But the thing is that, throughout our lives, we've increased our income, right?
Right.
And at every stage, it still feels like it's not enough, And again, we just did this arc on how much is enough a couple months ago. And what's interesting here is this idea of is happiness something that is just fleeting or momentary even, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of it, it's kind of the definition of the word is
right.
Do we need a different word for the momentary feeling of joy and then another word for the satisfaction of a lifetime? And even to get a little more pain in the behind about it, can one even measure their own happiness, or does that require a neutral third party?
Right, or does it require a relatively speaking thing, right? Of I'm happy because or compared to X person.
Right, I'm happy. And then how do things like empathy and justice work into that? You talk about satisfied, I think of the J Live song, the poor get worked, the rich get richer, the word gets worse. Do you get the picture?
Yeah. So that's one thing, is the real question that we asked a couple months ago about how much is enough is also tied to happiness, right? And happiness being momentary. I think that was what was really interesting about the Penn University study on delineating the difference between experience versus evaluative happiness, right? Of I'm experiencing day-to-day happiness. Overall, would I say that I have a happy life? And so one of the reasons why it doesn't feel like it is because you're well, I could always have more, right? The other thing that's interesting is, so they go into how many of us do overestimate, and this goes into the lifestyle creep, right? We're very adaptable. And it said it's been a plus during assorted ice ages, plagues, and wars, but that's also why you're never all that satisfied for long when good fortune comes your way. So whether a good thing or a bad thing happens, we adjust to it, right? And if we lose money, if we make more money, whatever it is, we as humans know how to figure it out. And so when we're on the track of getting more and more and more, there's this thing that economists call a hedonistic treadmill, or hedonic treadmill, or hedonic adaptation, not hedonistic.
Treadmill sounds a lot more fun.
Lifestyle creep, the reason why it's called a creep is because you just get more and more used to certain things that you didn't have before that you have now.
You were talking about more fundamental human stuff of being able to surmount obstacles and being
Right.
able to deal with these problems. It's, the usual pattern recognition stuff where it used to help us, evade the beasts that were trying to eat us. And now that there are no natural predators, we put it into overdrive into things that aren't necessarily the thing for us. But it does feel like that. There always is the possibility of enough, whether of more than enough, whether it's our neighbors or just our imagination. It always feels like that because we always feel like we should be struggling or fighting. It's even why
Right.
sometimes, y'all know about this, when you came across something easily, you want to come up with a story about how you actually had to struggle
Right.
for it, and that's what gets the headlines.
Right. Well, and it's why we're drawn to things like challenges, right? 30-day challenges, like boot camps, high intensity, all of that stuff. It's our human nature wanting to overcome something and wanting to, and wanting to struggle in a weird sense,
Right. It's why we subject ourselves to tests. Even
Yeah.
though we've talked about how tests aren't really good things, but it feels good when we can beat them.
Yeah, it really does, right? And so what's interesting is I love the example that they used in the article about when you go to buy a new car, right? And they say, when you go to buy a new Porsche, you imagine buying the Porsche, what you're really imagining is like the moment that you get it. And that's the point where we're most happy when we get something, right? If we think about the peak of happiness, it's the anticipation towards it and then finally getting it. And then it's a pretty significant drop from there. And one thing they said, the interesting thing is that most people, regret buying the Porsche and they they wish they bought a different car instead. Maybe they should have bought a BMW or Mercedes. Like that's where our mind goes, where it's like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten the Porsche. I should have gotten a different car, versus like questioning why you thought the car itself or the purchase of the car was going to make you happy in the first place.
Yeah, and what this is, I mean, kind of the crux of the money can't buy happiness idea is that they're saying that the feeling of purchase is something so wholly divorced from the satisfaction feeling that you can't call it actual happiness. And mind you, hey, I know students, you've known clients, we've done this ourselves, where the cat who, and you might be the person who, you not only buy the shirt in every color, you've bought 3 of that shirt.
Yeah.
And not when the first 2 wore out. You have all 3 of it sitting in your closet right now. You didn't even open them. You just liked it and you bought it and you liked that feeling.
Yeah.
I know people who've admitted to me, and I think this is what you call like an actual shopping addiction, is they really loved the feeling of making the purchase and everything after that was empty.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard with online shopping, what's interesting is you get that ping twice, right? You get it when you buy the thing, and then 2 days later the package gets there and you get it again.
2 days later, you got the good shipping. You clicked the good shipping one
know,
because
right?
I'm like
Express.
well, we ordering from somewhere around the country where it's like 6.5 months later. You're like, did I
You're
buy
like, I bought
this?
that?
Amazing.
Well, that is also why people love 2-day shipping.
right, because it comes to you so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's even that that buying high that happens twice with online shopping.
Although I got to say, for my bootleg buying people, when you get the one that's 6 months later, you don't mind as much that it's completely different from the picture because you don't
You're
remember
like,
what it
I don't
was.
remember.
You're just like, this is a
What did I
nice
buy?
jacket. I bought a blue checkered jacket. The whole time you bought red striped pants, but you're like, oh, this blue checkered jacket looks great.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Oh my gosh. So we're never satisfied. We adapt to situations, whether they're good or bad. So lifestyle creep happens. And we're great at comparing ourselves to
We're
other
great at
people.
comparing and competing.
And competing,
and
yeah.
wanting to do that and make that feel like a good thing. And all of that stuff works together to make us... Well, does it... I guess this is the question. This is something that we're just asking of you as a listener for you to decide. Does this make you actually not happy? Or are these markers indicative of something else? Mm-hmm. Is it that you actually... And when I say not happy, I mean, is this something that you need to fundamentally change in your life? And when it comes to your money stuff, does that mean that you have to change your entire relationship with money, your entire career, the way that you save money, the way that you think of money? Is that what has to happen for you? And for that to happen, I think what we really need to break down... And yeah, I know this is the feelings episodes where we're getting really into our feelings, and I want y'all to do this. And this part is really heavy. Is how much do you care? How much do you actually care about these things that you're purchasing for you, not for other people? Or maybe, hey, maybe the other people part counts as well.
Well, because that's
But
the interesting.
How much do you care about?
Yeah, well, because that's the interesting thing when it comes to comparing people. Is one of the things the article pointed out is we don't compare ourselves to Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or like people who are so much more wealthy than us. We compare ourselves to like people who are similar than us, but like have a little bit more, right? And you think I could have been that person.
I have so much more hair wealth than Jeff Bezos.
You do.
I
really do.
I don't think that he could compare to me. Is the reason that
Right. If that's what we're measuring, then yes, you are correct.
I'm just like, we're not even the same category. No, shout out to my bald people. Y'all are cool. I'm just trying to make fun of Jeff Bezos for something that I have that he doesn't. You're a good and full person if you don't have hair.
Yes. Thank you for that aside. I appreciate that. I appreciate that disclaimer.
Well, no, because here's a funny thing that someone pointed out. Whenever you do use low-hanging fruit to make fun of a famous person or a rich person that you just want to like take them down a peg, like you're saying, they never hear it, but the person who does hear it is the person at your level or
right.
poorer
Who's
person
like, wait a minute,
who fits that description. So
right.
like I was in the middle of that, I was like, oh no, I'm not actually dissing
like
Jeff Bezos. I'm
yeah.
dissing all the bald cats out there, and y'all are good people. Y'all cool. Y'all
I
got no problem with y'all.
You're right. Yes, similar others. Yeah, we're all similar others. Ordinary people. Well, and I think that point is really interesting because we talk a lot about what your values are, what your spending values are, what your money values are, what your values are, not in relation to anyone else. But is that possible?
Right.
Right?
It's not possible.
And I think the thing that happens is that advertising and commercials put this into overdrive, right? They know we're comparing ourselves to our neighbors in a sense.
Right.
So they're like, well, we're going to compare you with fucking everyone. And like everyone has this and you don't, right? And so how do you sift through that noise of, hey, like these are my actual values. These are things that I actually want, not because my neighbors have it, not because some advertiser is telling me, but because it's like it feels connected to me and aligned to me.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of celebrity culture stuff, especially in the past 20-ish years, has been about this personal connection. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to go super all the way there with it, but I mean, the show was called Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yep.
And before that, I remember, I'm completely blanking. You might remember the phrase. There was something that was related to Diddy, to Puff Daddy. And there was like a Keeping Up with the Combses. I forget if he said it in a song. You know what I'm talking about? Like it was some thing where like that was his brand. Is like I'm the guy that you want
right, like keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the Combses. Yeah.
That's that direct line to the Keeping Up with the reality star heiress of lawyers.
Yeah,
because that's what we all are.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Today's episode is sponsored by us, Brunch and Budget. Brunch and Budget is not just a podcast. It's a financial planning practice with a team of certified financial planners and accredited financial counselors ready to work with people who need a safe space to talk about your finances. Many of our clients come to us because someone or something made them feel bad about their money. We are the antidote to that. We do all our financial planning and coaching through a racial wealth equity lens, and we'll use our very own 5 stages to financial legacy to show you how far you've come and where you're headed. Go to brunchandbudget.com to learn more. So let's talk about these money personalities, because the money personalities are a good starting point and a good place to find the root of what your values are.
Yeah, if you haven't taken a money personality test, please go to brunchandbudget.com/personality or pocketschange.com/personality. We have lots of places you can take the tests and get some stuff from us where you can find out your tendencies. Again, these are not the be-all, end-all of who you are. These are just some feelings, and these feelings have a lot to do with our financial decisions. So if you answered A for 1 and A for 2 and you're a complicator, I want to talk about what feelings you equate with happiness.
Right. What are you actually looking for when you say happiness? Because it means different things to different people.
And complicators are often very happy when they have security and comfort.
It's true.
You know what? I had a whole thing I was going to say, but since you are like the poster person for complicators.
Oh my gosh, I know. I talk about it so much.
No, it's also because you made the poster, so
I did. I complicated the heck out of it. It's funny.
Tell me about how security and comfort make you happy.
Well, it's really interesting because I remember when we were talking about this part of the show and we were talking about, can you separate safety and happiness, right? Can I be happy if I don't feel safe? And you said yes, and I said no. And
I'll get to mine, but yeah, definitely, I don't have to feel safe.
yeah, but for me, there's this foundation of safety that I'm looking for when it comes to whether or not I feel happy or whether or not I can feel happy, right? And I think we were talking about that in the last episode, just about this threshold of like not feeling like you just have to survive, right? Where you can get to the point where you can even start to question like, am I happy? Am I not happy? What would actually make me happy? And I think I need to be in a place, and I know a lot of complicators need to be in a place where first you feel like your finances are secure and you feel like you can be comfortable, right? And I think that when these are like two perfect words for complicators, is like happiness equals security and comfort, right? I feel like I don't have worries. I worry enough already, right? So if I didn't have to worry about my money, then that takes that out of my brain and into something else, into a spreadsheet, into a bank account, into a credit card, whatever it is, right? And I think that one thing about happiness with complicators is determining that and recognizing if that's something you need so that you can think about what actually makes you happy.
What's interesting about complicators, this is going to be a little asidey, but we're going to get back to the other personalities in a second, is y'all like to complicate things in your heads, but the things that make you feel calm, the things that make you feel happy are actually very simple. It's like, you know about socks?
I love socks.
Y'all know about socks? Y'all know about the whole socks thing? Socks and sex?
Oh, yeah.
There is this thing. I'm terrible at citing sources. Again, we're not actual journalists. But I read this thing a while back about how you should wear socks during sex. And they said especially with women, but this goes across all genders. But like wear socks during sex because if your feet are cold, and this may have a connection to another idiom, you're less likely to have an orgasm. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to nut. And I don't know what makes you happy. I mean, I know it makes you happy. Hi, honey. But the royal you listeners out there, I don't know what makes y'all happy. I really don't. Hi, honey. But y'all often think it's a complicated thing, right? Oh, I need to have this and that.
Right. Just put on some socks.
Be really good at sex. Do the backflip and the spin around hibby jibby. Sometimes
tell them to keep their socks on.
Yeah, just have some socks.
Yeah, be like, I don't care. Wear your socks. I feel that. You're right.
If you answered A for 1 and B for 2, you might be a contemplator. And for contemplators, I mean, socks during sex, like you said, for everybody, probably keep you warm, keep you nice. But they're the ones where they might be more likely to wear one sock.
Oh.
Because
spicy.
Contemplators, they don't like thinking about their food, their money, their basics. They like adventure, wonder. To explore the vastness of the world.
Right. They don't want money to feel like it's holding them back.
They want to have opportunities. They want to even be able to deal with adversity. But yeah, they need to have those things. And this is why I think a contemplator is more likely to be okay with not being safe if this lack of safety presents an opportunity to do something that supersedes what they thought they could be. Mm-hmm. This is the wonder part. Where they can be special, where they can make something out of what they're doing.
Right. I feel like with contemplators, money feels mundane, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel exciting. It feels like it's the barrier that stops them from being able to do all of these things they want to do.
It's a silly system that, like, oh, who cares? It's so arbitrary. I just want to be able to do my thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And having money, even though, again, contradictory, because they're not going to say that the money is the thing that they want, because they're not thinking of it as the end or final goal. It's just like it's there in the way, and if I can be okay with that stuff, then I can have paths to happiness. I mean, there's also paths to unhappiness, but those are within our ability to make decisions.
Yeah,
man, control and decisions just keep running through. It's like the whole like neuroscience thing of like, do we actually make decisions, or are we just animals who are reacting to whatever stimuli?
Right.
And the more money is, and again, the metaphor about poor people being more atavistic and rich people being more human, right? As we have more money, we are afforded more options, more ability to make decisions. So we even feel more like we're human.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I feel like people even say that, oh, I finally took a shower and now I feel like a human. Right? We use that phrase a lot.
Civilized.
Yeah, civilized. Yeah. And in the next episode, in the part 3, we're going to talk about control and decisions. That's a big part of this, and that's a big part of like happiness in general.
Today's episode is sponsored by us, PocketChange. At PocketChange, we offer in-person and virtual workshops for students from grade school to grad school, professional development for educators and administrators, and jams for the whole family to learn, unlearn, and unpack. We use hip-hop pedagogy in the classroom to meet students where they're at, and hip-hop performance in the communities to dispel myths and create new common sense around money. For some free resources, go to pocketchange.com/toolkit and sign up for our newsletter. Let's change the way we talk about finance. So on the civilized thing,
Yes.
If you answered B for 1 and A for 2, when the limo rolls up and pulls out the gray poupon, the paper chaser sees that as an opportunity to start their own business. Now, paper chasers, they enjoy inclusion and competition. And what I say by inclusion is a lot of times, I've seen this socially amongst paper chasers, folks just want to get down. They want to be involved. They want to feel like they're a part of a community. And for paper chasers, they're able to use money to get themselves involved in a community. They can contribute funds to some program that's going on. They can create a business that services a community. I think a lot of B2B businesses, especially ones in creative fields, are oftentimes, I found, paper chasers because they love being able to make that connection because that's their value. And it's like we're friends because I provide a value to you. And this value I provide makes us all able to be happier. A weird thing about the different money personalities and different perspectives on happiness is we often try to give it to each other without worrying about whether or not it's what you consider happiness, right?
Yeah.
So that's why paper chasers are often like gleefully selling you a product and you're like, fam, I'm just trying to chill right now because they think that it's going to make you happier.
Right.
They're not just
They
trying to
truly do, yeah. Yeah.
And the competition part of it means that if they got enough game, if they're smart enough, if they're right enough, if they're real enough, they will be able to sell it to you and you will be happier. That's why you'll find yourself sometimes talking to this entrepreneur and you're like, leave me alone. And they're like, no, you need this thing. It's not like they're just trying to sell you. They really do think that they can help you out and make your life better and make you happy.
Yeah, they believe that. Yeah, and they often can. And I think that that's really interesting. I wouldn't have thought that for a paper chaser, like other people's happiness predicates their happiness. But in a lot of ways, that connection, you wrote competition here too, and there is that aspect of it because paper chasers love playing the game. But really, it's because there's a collaborative aspect to competition in a lot of ways, right? And I think that's really interesting. And they do find a lot of joy and glee in that.
By the way, competition without collaboration is just a fight. Any type of competition that exists that's not just a fight, there is collaboration.
No, you're so right. I'll never forget this example that you told me about like B-boys, right?
Right.
And a B-boy competition is you would never like in competition like trip a B-boy.
Yo, you'll steal their hat.
Yeah.
You put your hand right, like the competition is like I get so close to you without ever touching you.
Right. Or you'd like dance in collaboration, but you would clearly be the better dancer, right? You would never end the competition by like punching them in the face.
Well, then the party's over.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Paper chasers want to
with
keep
that.
the party moving.
They do.
Well, and again, why they think of others as an important part of who they are, this brings us to the money monks. If you answered B for 1 and B for 2, they both are on the same side and the right side of the matrix that we have designed. And that's because other people's opinions and other people's feelings, they matter a lot because these are money personalities who are very dependent on being a part of society. So for money monks in particular, we care about, oh man, this sounds like so much loftier than it should be, but it's for real. Equality and justice. And we want to know that not only am I getting a good thing, but it is now available for other people.
Yeah.
And if I can make it available for other people, if I can make something cheaper, it's why too many times money monks will lower our prices for things when we probably shouldn't.
Yeah. The thing that's interesting about money monks and how you describe that is, it's this interesting, like, you can't be happy until everyone is happy, right? And you will give up your ability to be happy if that's not the case, which It will never be the case.
You know, just showing up with a duffel bag of socks at prom. Just like, everybody, come on.
Everyone keep your socks on.
I told you we were going to use a lot of idioms today.
Oh, but yeah, there is that aspect for money monks.
This is the thing of it. Oh man, there's another great quote that's a better thing than what I'm going to say. But it isn't happiness until we're all happy. Mm-hmm. It isn't satiation if one of us is hungry. It just doesn't work.
Right.
I can't be happy, and I'm a money monk, so like this is real. You know, I will sit in a room and everybody's happy. It's my birthday and my birthday party, and I'm being given the last slice of cake, and I'm seeing someone over there crying because they didn't get any cake because they were in the bathroom and cake was handed out. I'm a happier person making sure that they get the cake. It doesn't make me a better person. I think that's one thing to think about. And money monks, it doesn't make you a better person.
Yeah.
If you do this thing. Because like on the real.
If you take this literally, especially.
Well, because there are plenty of times where folks aren't happy. Like what I was saying about like, you know, Paper Chase is doing this too. Folks aren't happy with you bending over backwards to try to give them something, and they want things in different ways. So even the things that you create that you're like, oh, I'm being altruistic, it may not be what other people want anyway.
Like why do you think they were crying in the bathroom because they didn't get cake? They could be crying in the bathroom for any reason.
Any reason. Might have nothing to do with your behind. I think that's also part of the thing is this equality justice stuff. It is a way of centering ourselves that is similar to how as a complicator, you would center yourself in the work that you're doing for yourself.
Yeah.
We find no value in that, so we center ourselves in the way that we are helping our community. But it's still centering ourselves. I just want you to be real that this stuff is about you. And it doesn't make you a morally better person, that it's important to you to see justice out there. But it is something for you to think about in terms of what really is going to make you happy. And it is a place where I need you, just like the complicators, I need you to find the simple thing. I'm making these jokes about the socks, right? But if you can bring the socks for everybody at the party, and then after that you can go,
yeah.
Now I can be selfish. That's happiness.
Yeah. Well, and also that sigh that you just gave, my first thought was you feeling like you did enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Speaking of how much is enough, right?
Yeah, I very much, this is like just personal, but I think very money monkey is like, I am not able to take breaks until I feel like I've done enough. Mm-hmm. I don't like, you know, we're 3/4 done the thing and we're going to stop for some food. I'm like, nah. Let me just finish, and then I'll be able to eat.
Right,
then
I'll
you can
relax.
That comfort.
Yeah.
That we're talking about for your money personality. They all often come to the same things. It's just these are all these different routes that we use to get there. So no matter your money personality, I need you to think about the ways that we can use simple stuff. And this is where our idioms get really messy, because this is like the type of advice that someone would then give would be some best things in life are free kind of stuff.
Right.
And there are inexpensive or free ways to feel good. You can literally go and take a walk, but you can't go and take a walk if you don't have good shoes, or you don't have the jacket and it's cold, or if you know that you're walking out with your shoes, but your neighbor is cold and without shoes. Those are real things. All of the simple moments are going to have to be backed up by something financial. So, we're doing something a little bit different today. We've done this before, though. We're going to play a song of mine.
Ooh.
I just made a new song with the homie Warren Britt. It's called You Can Buy Happiness. I figured. Weirdly enough, me and Warren, we started working on the song, and then the hook came in my head, and I told Pam about it, and she was like, "Oh, that should be a show." And I was like, "Oh, now we got to rush to finish the song." So we'll see if
just giving him deadlines, you know. Otherwise, he'll put everyone else first.
Wow. See, man. All right. Now I have to finish this song so we can keep this recording as part of it. But so Warren, you know, let's get going. So we put together this song about You Can Buy Happiness. You know, they say that nothing rhymes with orange, but let's make it plural. You know what rhymes with orange is? Warren Britt. It's the only thing. And maybe I can't buy happiness,
but I can pay for braids so my hair isn't a nappy mess.
You can buy happiness. You can buy happiness. You deserve extravagance. You can buy happiness. deserve extravagance. You can buy happiness. Gas prices did a skyrocket. Corporations get record profits. Influencers and the economists, they gon' try to tell you that it's logic. What they sell it is a pack of nonsense. What they want is you broken, despondent, giving less up than a convent. That's an easy way to stop progress. I know everybody got problems, but ain't none of y'all calling Congress. Spend the money on another conference, but the park bench don't get the largest. Now they got spikes in that park bench. Get the red hot. Where the super cat? Where your shooters at? Where your super pack? If you gon' get it regardless. You can buy happiness. You can buy happiness. You deserve extravagance. You can buy happiness. You can buy happiness. You can buy happiness. You deserve extravagance. You can buy happiness.
Promises forgotten, our thrones roam out the cosmics. I walk through molten lava, unbothered, no begging pardons. Student loans need absolving, feeling soulless and rotten. Dying to quit my job, I'm dealt with a lack of options. Searching for myself, drift cautiously. Wander into psychopathic states where my faults aren't as tall as me. Stars won't let me fall asleep. I draw the heat, but the pen runs out of ink. Those sharks will never sink in deep. Defy magic, no light. The shine rather ignite. Take its form through the bond madness of sight. The kite high as a meteorite, right in the stair alive, breathing the shock of shadows at night. Correct, I'm Elohim Imhotep. Nervous wrecking ball, stutter step the yard floors, leak through the flesh. Push the wall through your temple, let it speak through your chest. Legends show the dialect I respect.
You can buy happiness.
Get the latte, get the new J.
You can buy happiness.
Start a business, you know how to save.
You can buy happiness.
Buy meme stocks for fun.
You can buy happiness.
Make a hedge fund go bankrupt.
You can buy happiness.
Pay the doctor out of pocket.
You can buy happiness.
Healthcare, diamond goblins.
You can buy happiness.
This round's on me.
You can buy happiness.
A little promo for this free speech.
You can buy happiness. You can buy happiness. You deserve extravagance. You can buy happiness.
Thanks for listening to the Brunch and Budget podcast. Please feel free to rate us, debate us, hate us, date us, infatuate us, something that means you like us but rhymes with 8. Say what's up. Tell us we make great stuff on Apple Podcasts or really anywhere that lets you comment, Reddit, YouTube. I don't know. Just tell somebody, like just knock on your neighbor's door. Subscribe, add us to your archives. Feel free to share any episodes that you think will help somebody out. Help us expand our circle so we can bring the real to more communities. If you got a song about money, financial systems, or how you feel about either, please send a link or MP3 to Dyalekt@Dyalekt.com. Figuring out how to spell it is your only real obstacle. We love some informational, intentional, influential songs from indie artists.